Welcome to another episode of So You're Ready to Date. So You're Ready to Date, the podcast. This is a super extra special one because we have a great friend of mine, Beth Anne. We
Hi.
met almost 2.5 years ago now, doing
Yeah.
another program with another coach. And like you do, sometimes you just attract these wonderful, beautiful internet friends who we've never met in real life, but would consider her one of my better friends because
Yeah,
we talk
definitely.
and we get to know each other. But very much like me, she is on a dating journey and has kind of, what do I want to say, blossomed in that respect, taken that step forward. And I think she's going to have some amazing tips and tricks to share with everybody on different ways to go out and meet people. I talked very openly and candidly about my online experience. Beth Anne has a lot of in-person meeting people experience. And so she's going to be a fountain of knowledge to hopefully help us find some new and different ways to get out there and get out of our comfort zone, find some new and different ways to meet some people. So, Beth Anne, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me and Angie.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. This is like the best way to spend my day.
Well, good. Well, like I said, we are so excited that you are here. And thank you so much for taking the time out to come chat with us. Really appreciate that. And I think to maybe get started here and give our listeners a little bit of background, do you want to share just a little bit of your story and kind of how you got to where you're at now?
Oh, it is a great story. Okay, so everyone just sit back. If you have a glass of wine, that's fine. If you're at work, maybe not. Okay, so I'm originally from Philadelphia. Mostly like all over Pennsylvania, but mostly Philadelphia. And I didn't really date in high school. You're getting like this whole story. Like this is
All of
going
it.
to be a
Yes.
lot. Edit it all. I don't care. You're all hearing it. But I didn't really date in high school. I didn't blossom into dating until after I graduated high school, and I really got involved in my local theater, the community theater. It was York Little Theater, is now the Belmont Theater in York, Pennsylvania. And there I dated like every guy, straight or not, because back in like the late 80s, early 90s, it wasn't the world that it is today. Like a lot of people were not out as easily. And now like they're out of the closet. Maybe not the closet is the right word, but they've they've come out, and I realized, oh, that's why that relationship didn't work. He likes men and not women, and that makes a huge difference with dating. Anyhow, dating, met this nice guy, brand new to town, named Brigham. Brigham, yes, he was Mormon. I was not. I was Catholic. And like any good girlfriend, he's like, why don't you come to church? They're super nice people. You should come to church with me. And so I did. And the next thing you know, I'm Mormon, which and then he's like, oh, your mom isn't really talking to you because she's mad you're Mormon. I'm moving to Utah. You should move to Utah. We're really nice people. We'll get married. It'll be great. This is like the best thing ever. And so I'm like, sure. So I sell my car. I'm 21. I have no business talking about this with anybody. He moves out here a few weeks before me. And, I'm selling my car. I'm getting out of my lease. I said goodbye to my family. I get on an airplane. And I thought, this was before the internet. This was like 1992. So I didn't realize Utah was as modern as it was. I thought I'd see a lot more like Little House on the Prairie. It's not. Like, I was living in suburbia. And so I flew out here. His whole family meets me at the airport. Oh, we're so glad you're here. We're so glad you're here. Oh, I'm so glad I'm here too. And the next day he's like, let's go out on a date. We'll get ice cream. Utah is like king of ice cream. Like that is what they eat here, that and Jello. So we go on a date, and like he holds my hands across the table and says to me, Beth Anne, while you were back in Pennsylvania for 2 weeks, I started dating another girl from BYU. And yeah, I'm going to break up with you. So after I moved like 750,000 miles across the United States, this gentleman breaks it to me that I'm not going to marry him. I'm now living in my ex-boyfriend's mother's house, and I've left everything I've ever known behind. So that was interesting. I stayed. I didn't like tell my family because it's kind of weird. Like, why would you move for this guy? So I stayed here. I eventually moved out of his mom's house, which that's a whole nother story. His mom's great. My kids call her grandma. I married a nice gentleman. We had a couple kids. We got divorced. It was just finalized in August, actually. So now I'm back to dating. So there was like a huge amount of time I was not dating in my life. But here I am. I'm dating and I'm loving it. It is so much fun. So I hope that answers some of your questions. I'm sure it just opened up like 2 million more. Do you have any questions on why I would date a guy and move across the world for him? Because I still question that, and it's been like 30 years.
You said age 21, and I think both of us like, yeah, no,
That makes sense. We've all done it.
I remember how dumb I was at 21. Yes, of course it makes sense.
51. I'm still dumb, but yeah, that was one of my more interesting moves.
Yeah, my son is 22, and I'm watching his love life, and I know I don't really have any questions about that. But what I do have a question about, you said in August your divorce was finalized.
Yes.
You found yourself dating now. Didn't really expect your life to be where it is at the moment. How did you know when you were ready to start dating again after your divorce?
Okay, so my divorce was finalized in August. And this is TMI, but I don't care because that's just who I am. I asked for a separation last October after a couple years of not being happy. So I've already worked like through this. We just waited for my youngest, my 19-year-old, to graduate high school before like selling the house, doing the paperwork. We were just like, even though I had moved out, and actually I started dating like last March, I was just like, after much therapy, it took a lot of therapy, for me to get to the point where I felt worthy enough to date. Like, I'm old, and, why would anybody want to date someone like me? I'm old. I'm divorced now. I have old children. But I got through that. Now I'm just like, who wouldn't want to date me? Like, look at me. Not just physically, but like emotion. I bring a lot. I have a lot of energy, and I bring that to the table. And I feel like, yeah, who wouldn't want to date me? I'm pretty awesome. So therapy, lots of therapy.
Number one takeaway here.
Yes.
Therapy.
Therapy. Thank you, baby Jesus, for that. So, so anything else like, you want to know where I meet people?
Yes.
Yeah, we do want to
Okay.
talk about, we want to talk about that. So you did mention that you're dating a guy and that you've been dating him for a while. It's to the point where it is serious. You're happier than you've ever been. But you also mentioned when we first got started that you had started dating a little bit and had gone through some other guys. But you also mentioned that you don't do the online dating as much, that you do the in-person. So talk to us a little bit about how you meet people.
Okay. I'm an actor, which during COVID, like especially early COVID, really stunk because you weren't meeting people. Well, nobody was meeting anybody. If you met somebody, it was online. But being an actor, again, I just recently got back into the scene after almost 30 years. Sets, like there are so many people, not just on stage. I do some stage. I mostly do like commercials and stuff. And this is going to sound very, I don't know how it's going to sound, but this is just how I am. I bring a great energy and I love being on set. So I am just excited with life and how the changes in my life, like everything that has happened. I'm like, oh yeah, it had to happen that way for me to get to this point, so that I'm living my best life. So I just go into every opportunity, whether it's to the liquor store, whether it's the Target, whether it's to an audition with who can I meet, not just dating wise, but who's going to be here that is going to be my new best friend. And I guarantee you'll walk out of every store, anywhere I go, when I have that attitude, I meet somebody fabulous. And maybe it's just like 5 seconds of just laughing at something. I just go through life just looking around, seeing who could either make me laugh, or I could maybe make them laugh or make their day better. And when you do that, you never know who you're going to meet. So I think just putting joy out there and looking for it in other people will attract the people, it just attract like-minded people.
I love that. I think that's a great energy. That's
so
a great
in that
energy.
real world experience, how do you actually, because it's not necessarily a fake it till you make it kind of situation.
No.
Because this is like, you're not approaching somebody like, oh, I hope he wants to date me, because that has a very different energy.
Oh, definitely.
And not always good, right? So how do you approach an interaction where you're like, okay, I just want to spread joy today and see what happens from that? So how can you provide a little bit more on how to have these interactions out with real people? Because I think that's sometimes where people get tripped up. They're like, either this expectation of it has to go a certain way, or this expectation of myself, how I have to be in that interaction. So how can we approach it maybe in a way that's more natural to maybe who we are as a person, so that we get the best out of it?
Right. So I'm like an extrovert, introvert. I love my alone time. Like I love downtime where I'm reading, but I get a lot of joy out of just interacting with people. Like if I see them have like a great shoe or a great tie, or like we're both getting to the door at the same time, I just will say something funny or goofy, or just like smile. Like I just like to laugh. So I sort of like to drag people along. I had, in fact, on Christmas Day, I was doing some brunch with friends, and they were like, Beth Anne, we just met you really in August, and I cannot think of a time where you were not like part of my life. They're like, you just worm your way into people's lives. And that's kind of what I do. Like I walk into situations looking for, not just for friends, but maybe just like if I see somebody who might need a pick me up, or they just have great shoes, I will mention it. Sometimes I just go through life thinking everybody wants to be my friend, and see where that ends me up. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes you meet someone in the bathroom, and next thing you know, you're doing shots with them to celebrate they just got engaged. And then who knows where you end up the rest of that night in New York City. I'm just saying these kind of things happen because I just am willing to put myself out there and just go for it. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer. I just am looking around, seeing what could be fun. Even if it's not dating, because dating, I mean, even when I am dating, like I was dating a few different gentlemen all casually at the same time. I wasn't looking for people to date. I was looking for, I need some friends, and adult friends is hard, and let's just make some friends. It's not all about romance. I mean, that's nice in the end, and I am dating a really great guy who is supportive now, and everything. But that's when we first met, we were both dating other people, and we both had in common that we both love theater and we love seeing shows. So we started hanging out a little bit more. And then
So you talk about going through life, seeing who's going to be your next best friend.
Yeah.
I love that philosophy, and I love that concept. And I think that is a really great way to be intentional, to stop and take a moment before you even walk into a place, if that's something that somebody's been uncomfortable with in the past, and to be intentional about that and say, I'm going to go meet my next best friend or whatever. I like that energy. One of the things that you talked about too is you've had this dating experience and have been dating for a little while, and most of your stuff is, most of the people that you meet are organic, not doing the online thing. How do you get past that first casual, hi, how are you, those basic questions to know if somebody might be interested?
Okay. Most of my organic meetings are done at a theater. So, or like on a movie set or a commercial set. So we already have that in common. Like, oh, you're an actor, or oh, you're a cameraman. Well, I'm an actor. Can you make me look good? Because that's very important too. But like most, even like not that I picked someone up at the liquor store, but I've met people at the liquor store who have been my friends now. Just because you're like, oh, do you like that wine? Why do you like that wine? I am very basic. Just get me some wine. I don't care what kind it is. If it's $5, it's at 50. I'd prefer the $5 one because that's my price range. But it's not like if you're at the wine store, you have something in common. If you're on a set, and I am a very touchy Italian, so I can tell right away, like if I think someone's cute, like if I gotten past, okay, this guy isn't bad looking, so I do not inappropriate touching, but like arm touching and stuff, just to see how they react, if they're receptive to me touching them. And yeah, okay, I think everyone should be an actor, because, or at least go see theater, because then it's so easy. Everybody there is loving live theater. So there's so much to talk about. You can talk, you can just bring something up, and I don't know. I just love, it's organic. I actually, I'm very grateful I haven't been on the apps, because I'm really bad with social media. So I don't know if I'd be able to do that. And yeah, I go out of my way to make people feel happy and good about themselves. And so I think that when you make someone feel good about themselves, then they want to hang out with you more, romantically or not. Is that kind of, your mic's off.
Sorry, they're clearing snow outside, so if you guys are hearing the beeping in the background, I apologize for that. I keep trying to mute it, but they're shoveling all this snow that we've been getting.
Oh, Angie, you're fine. How much snow? I gotta know, how much snow?
I don't know. What did we get? Another inch last night, but there was already snow on the ground. And so then, of course, they just have to come clear the roads and do all the stuff. But I hear we're supposed to get a lot on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I
the
don't know. That's what
weather,
I've
the
heard. I don't
temperatures
watch
were
the weather.
finally not trying to kill us, and then we get snow.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst. Oh, no, thank you. We have wind going on right now. I hope you can't hear it. We have wind, but you don't have to clean up. Well, eventually you might have to clean up wind. Right now, I'm not cleaning up wind. So thank you. Thank you, weather gods.
Yes, that's fair.
So we've been talking about meeting people out in public. So I want to talk about signals. How can you give signals? Because I think that's just as important as being able to read if somebody is kind of interested. Because I think it's that two-way street, right? If you're not giving off the signals that I'm perhaps interested in just talking and just, friendly, because I love this idea of taking off the pressure and the expectation that every person you meet has to fit into this one specific like friend category or relationship category. So do you have any like helpful hints on either how to best emote that you're interested in, maybe how to pick up on some signals that others might be sending?
Okay. I will flirt with any man, woman, child that walks by, animal, and which is fun until like you realize that you're flirting with someone that you're totally not interested in, other than just laughing with, but I never learned my lesson. Like if you walk by, I will flirt with you. Like if a mop is standing there in the corner, I'll probably flirt with that just out of boredom. Uh, so that does, I mean, in the dating world, that does cause problems. And I'm sure there are a few people who are like, she led me on, which I didn't mean to. That's just, I'm flirty. My Facebook is, well, first, my Facebook is just professional. So I should say like Instagram. I'm very flirty on it. I call people baby. I like, so that's not, I'm really bad at that kind of stuff because I just flirt with everybody who walks by. I'm not embarrassed about it. And unless it gets me somebody who I'm definitely not interested in asking me out. And then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You just got to understand. You are in front of me. I will flirt with you. So I should probably be better about that. I'm not, but again, I just put out, I like to put out an energy where I'm very interested in hearing what people have to say. And I will share my stories, but I will turn it on you very quickly. And people love talking about themselves. Obviously, I do too. Because this is going to be like a 2-hour episode, people. I hope you're sitting back because Beth Ann's going to talk about herself. And that's her favorite stupid topic is myself. But yeah, I guess just be interested in their stories, be interested in somebody else's stories and really listen and not be like, oh, I'm listening to your story, but I'm already thinking about something else. Like, I really love hearing about someone's story. And I think that makes people feel special. And I love to have my friends feel special. And my lovers, and strangers in the street. Talk to me about whatever you got going on. I just love hearing people's stories. And I think that's a thing. When you show you're interested, even as just a friend, I think that makes a big difference. And people will go through the day like feeling better about themselves. Is that what you're looking for? I'm sorry, ladies.
No, I think you're so many gold nuggets you're sharing out there for everybody, so much for people to absorb and take in, talking about how you're focused outward and on the other person rather than inward, I think is a great thing. But you're talking about making friends, and you're talking about this in so much of a broader sense than just a romantic relationship, because you did mention too that as adults sometimes we have difficulty making friends, and using these same techniques to go out and make friends, I think that's an important takeaway.
Right. And like I think I mentioned the guy I'm dating now, we were both dating, like we were dating people who were friends. So like not a foursome, like sexual, but like we had mutual friends and we were dating each other. And that's how we became friends and had the relationship go from there. And I think that's important. Like friend your friends. I don't know how to say that. Because he friended me on Facebook and I'm like, well, he's dating so and so and I'm friends with so and so, so of course we should be friends. This would be great. And you can never have too many friends out there. And not that I'm saying use your friends, but you might be useful to them, they might be useful to you, and you never know where you're going to end up. And I think to be open to friendship and just being friends with people. I was totally fine being friends with this guy until we weren't.
Well, we've talked about that in past episodes where it's like expanding that friend group can incidentally broaden your like dating group, because it's a friend of a friend or a coworker or your brother's friend or something like that, not necessarily using them specifically as, all right, I want to be your friend because it looks like you've got some cute friends on Facebook, you're going to need to start hooking me up.
Yeah, exactly.
But like you said, that expanding it into, hey, do we even have enough that we have in common that we want to talk about, let alone dating? Because that's
Yeah.
always been, you know, they look really good on paper, or maybe you've had a couple of really good dates, but sometimes you're like, do we have more conversation than 2 coffee dates? I don't know.
Yeah. 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 And I think that's important too. I mean, we've all had chemistry with people and then found out like, yeah, that part is good, but we got nothing to talk about. And that's just weird to just have it be, you know, this is a dating thing. Your sex might be great, but then like you leave the bedroom and you sit there at dinner and you're like looking at each other like, I don't know why we're here. We should just go back and get naked because that's what we're good at. And if you edit any of this, my feelings are not hurt. But I think that that's important too. Like, yeah, you might be able to have great conversations with this person, but then like you just don't, in bed, it just doesn't work, or like in other aspects. So I think it's good to, it does take a bit to make sure you're good in, like, I think there's 3 realms, like sex is one, is intellect one, and I don't know. There's like 3 different, like how you're compatible with people, and I can't remember what they are. But I think you need to definitely see if you have anything to talk about, and that's scary.
So when you were dating early on, when you first started getting back out there, I think, how did you measure up? Were you nervous when you first started, or did you just dive back in?
Once I had gotten past, am I worthy to date? That was like difficult just because, you're like, I just got divorced. I'm damaged. Why would someone? It took me a minute to get to the point where I was like, yeah, like people should be dating me and I should be dating them. Like I deserve to be happy, just like everybody else in this world. And so once I got to that, I just dove right in. I'm like, all right, Beth Ann's out. And yeah, I talk about myself in the third person. I'm ready to date. And, I went balls out and just, somebody would ask me out. Mostly there was a couple times that like, getting a divorce is not easy. And sometimes you have to be like, I need to take care of my kids. This is a rough time for them. And I did take a little break because my youngest son was graduating high school and he needed his mom. And you're like, you know what? This is what moms do. We stop dating when we have to be there for our kids, because at the end of the day, my kids are the most important thing. I wouldn't date a guy who did not support that with me. You know what I mean? Like I will always be a mom. I'll be 975 years old and I will still be a mom. And, my kids, when they need me, when they're sick, they know they can call me and I will drop off food and Dayquil. Like that's what moms do at the end of the day. So, but yeah, I just dove right in and dated some of the like greatest men in Utah who were not named Brigham. From my story. Yeah, I dated some really just stellar gentlemen, and all casually, and it was great. I was looking for, not for fun. I was looking to laugh again. I was looking to find people who were my people, who had the same interests, who wanted to be around me and make me laugh. Like that was important to me, to find people who made me laugh and I could make laugh. I missed that. And so I spent a lot of time just meeting new people, and it was great.
I know.
So what I hear is you weren't afraid to casually hang out with and date not a lot of people, but a lot of people until you found the right person. Like you just didn't make it it has to be this one that's in front of me right now. You just kept looking until you found the right person, but you didn't give up on the whole process during that time.
Right. I like in the back of my head, I was thinking, you know, it sounds awful, but this is where I was. I was like, I'm going to die alone. Like, that's okay. Like, I'm just going to date. I'm not going to get serious with anyone. And, I'm going to enjoy it for what it was, which was just, I did not want a commitment. I'm still not looking for, oh gosh, not even thinking about a ring or anything, like not that kind of commitment. I was, you know, dating, you know, about 3 guys at one point, and just, again, great guys, just casually, just, you make me smile, that you brought me joy to this part of my life. Or, you know, we had other, you know, we were compatible in certain ways. And it was beautiful. Like, I really enjoyed just enjoying it for what it was. It was no commitment, no big commitment. You know, we were dating, but it wasn't exclusive. And I enjoyed that. I just enjoyed getting to know people, remembering what dating was, because it was almost 25 years that my ex and I were together. And I didn't date. Yeah, well, yeah. But yeah, you know, it took me a minute to remember how to date, and that, you know, because we don't see each other every day, it was like managing that and figuring out. When I dated before, there was no cell phones, or internet. So this was all new to me. Like, oh, I can send flirty texts now. Like, that was new. And so, learning those ways to date was kind of fun, but it took me a minute.
So I know divorce is a common, I guess, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word. And, you know, like you said, therapy was very helpful in getting you ready and back to that point. But it's also something I would assume, never having been divorced, I don't have any kind of knowledge on this, but it's a topic that obviously has to come up, or I would assume comes up at some point. So how do you talk about divorce? How has that topic been broached with the people that you have been dating? Because I feel like there could be like several ways that you go about this, and not that there's a right or a wrong way, but maybe communicating like, yeah, this is a thing that happened, without maybe bashing somebody or going too much into detail. Or how have you talked about the whole divorce process as you've gone out and started dating again?
Yeah. Cause I'm not going to bash my kid's dad. Like, he's a good guy. We weren't right for each other. I let people, well, I don't put it on social media. Like, my Facebook is professional. If you're on my Instagram, if I go out on a date with someone, it's usually either, and I post pictures, it's with a gentleman who is not interested in women, or I just finished college, so a lot of my friends are like 22. So very age inappropriate for for me. I don't put that kind of stuff on Instagram. I don't even really post pictures of my kids that much. But it comes up, like the first date I had with one gentleman, he didn't realize I was 10 years older than him. So, we had met briefly, and then we like spent a week sending flirty texts till we finally had time to go out on a date. And so we ordered dinner, and I looked at him across the table. I'm like, I just want to let you know, I know how old you are, and I am 10 years older, and I am not quite divorced yet. And if you want to get up and leave, I will cover your tab. That was how that one went. Thankfully, he stayed, and we're still really good friends. We had a good laugh about that afterwards. But I feel like it's important for people to know, maybe not the minute they meet me, but like during a first date, they need to know that, yeah, I am divorced. I have 2 kids and a dog the dog rates higher than my children. None of them live with me, but you know, this is this is my family. I have an ex-husband. He's part of my family. And you know, 2 kids. And I think it's important for them to know. If I didn't find out for like 4 dates that he had kids, I would put that would be like a red flag, because I'd be like, that should be one of the most important things you tell me, is that you've had children with other people. So I put it out, I have put it out there fairly early. The first real date, like if we're casually meeting, you know, we met up, that guy that I just spoke about, we met, he was in a play that I saw, and we met that night and chatted. And I didn't say anything about my kids or being divorced, because I didn't think that's appropriate to dump on someone right there. But like after, you know, a few days of flirty texts, I did mention that, you know, I had a couple kids, you know, not even a few days. It was probably like the next day, you know, that, you know, I have kids and a dog, and is that a problem? And they were good about it. They're like, hey, I have a kid too. No animals. Oh no, he had a cat at the time. But like, I think it needs to come up. I think people need to know that, you know, that has happened. In fact, the guy I'm dating now, when we were just friends, he told me, he's like, yeah, I've been married twice. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, okay, that should have been a red flag. But then, you know, you get to know him, you're like, you know what, sometimes things don't work out. And I think it's good to know that people, you know, have made that commitment before and it didn't work out. But if you're willing to get back out there and put your heart out there to try to date, like, good on you. Like, you are super duper brave, and I'll give you a chance. And yeah.
So what are some other green flags that you look for? I mean, we can talk red flags later
Oh
if you
my
want
gosh.
to, but I feel like those kind of get thrown and talked
Yes.
about a lot. But in your experience in this new chapter of dating, what have been maybe some surprising or not surprising green flags that have come up as you started to date?
Okay. Well, can I just say, like, there was a Beth Anne version of Beth Anne many years ago who would see the red flags and be like, oh, that's not a problem. That's a party. I should go over there. Like, that was me. Like, oh, Beth Anne, poor young me. I feel bad for her. Green flags. Well, first, I think common interest. And like I said, a lot of people that I meet are on theater people. And I think theater people are some of the best people. So there's a green flag. I also watch and see how they treat other people. Whether it be a waitress, because if you treat a waitress or like somebody bringing you up at Walmart or whatever poorly, I don't want to be with you. Like, that's something bad. And how you handle stress. And, you know, sometimes stress is going to get the best of us and we're just going to melt down. But watching how somebody else sees an inconvenience and doesn't totally lose it, like, that's important to me, because you know, life is full of inconveniences. I think we need to look for how people handle stress. Because I mean, not that they're a bad person, but maybe they're just not ready for, if they're melting down at very slight things, they might need to be in a different place to date you, or date me at least. You know, you're in a giant car accident, you're going to lose it. And that's a whole nother thing. But, you know, minor things should not have you lose it. Just kindness. I also noticed, like, if we become social media friends, how they interact with other people. I don't post anything political on purpose. But I watch what they post. So that's like important, but also like how they encourage other people, or, and it sounds really lame, but like if they're on there trying to start fights with somebody on social media, we all know those people. I don't want that kind of person in my life. Like, I don't want to start a fight with anyone, and I don't want to be on social media and defending that. I look for people who are supportive, who like heart Facebook things. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. Or just say, you know what? You can face hard things. You can face difficult things. I'm here for you. Like, I love if I see that on their feed, like that they're always encouraging their friends, that they're just being kind and posting. Like, everyone has bad times again. Everybody has times in their life that really just suck balls. And, you know, you can look at their posts and you're like, they are going through something really, really difficult right now. But if all their posts are about being life is being difficult, I can kind of be your friend, but also I need to have, you know, I want to be around people who, yeah, they have difficult things happen to them, but they're still going on and they're not going to give up. And social media is really good because you can stalk them like that. And you can see what they're like behind. We all have a different persona. You know, we can all have a different persona. We've seen that person who will just fight on Facebook and just, that's what they want to do. And I don't want to have that kind of person in my life. Like, you know, you're safe behind your computer, but I don't really want to be around you. That's not the person I want in my life. So I guess that's a green flag to me. Also, if you buy me food, like, I'm not talking expensive. Like, if you buy me Swedish fish, you have my heart. It does not, like, they're like, what, $2 a bag? Like, you do that for me, you have my heart. Oh, I love food. Like, it is some of the best stuff. And yeah, you could buy me an apple. I'll be happy with that too. But I am all about the junk food. So, you know, just be supportive. Like, you want somebody, sorry, just look how they are and how they react with their friends and what their friends are really saying about them and not saying about them. I've noticed that a lot, that yeah, sorry, just dating a good guy. And just what his friends have told me. And I've just realized that, yeah, he's a good guy. And yeah, anyhow, okay.
Well, it is about those little things because the guy that I'm dating right now, our schedules do not coincide at all whatsoever. So we're getting really good at morning dates, and he brought me bananas this morning.
See, food. Oh my God, I love food. Yes, please get me food. Little thing, you know, and it's the little things that matter most to me. Like, you don't have to buy me stuff, but if you just remember that something's important to me, like, remember that my one brother lives in Florida and this is who he's married to. Like, oh my God, you paid attention to that whole story that all I wanted to tell you about was he had a cat once, you know, like, thank you. And thank you for remembering, you know, who they are in my life. Like, or like my friend Summer, you remember Summer has her granddaughters living with her. Thank you. That's what I want. You know, I just want you to make sure that you're paying attention to me, and it's all about me.
But
I do that to them. Like,
yes, you've already proven that you reciprocate very well.
yes, like I am that person. Like, I expect, I don't want to say I expect a lot, because when you expect things and people don't meet your expectations, it's really, really bad, because they don't have the script that you're living to in your head. So I pay attention. I give. Right now, my fridge has LaCroix in it, which is like decidedly the worst drink, non-alcoholic drink ever made.
Put some Mio in it and it is much better.
Oh, okay. So my fridge is stocked with that and I hate it. You know why though? Because the guy I'm dating loves it. And I'm like, I can't do everything, but I can have LaCroix there for you. So when, you know, you come over and, you know, when, you know, we're going to go for, you know, a hike or something, there's still LaCroix in there for you. I'll drink the wine. Like, that's fine. But, I'll have LaCroix. I'll have that there for you because that's something that you like and that I can be that person for you. So, yeah, just little things. Little things are important.
I love it. I think that you have really given our listeners so much today, so much insight into what works and how to find a partner, and have given some great tips. Some of the stuff that we've touched on before, but I think some brand new stuff too that I think is really great that people can go out and try, and some tips and tricks. But if you had one piece of advice for anybody who is coming away from a divorce or walking away and feels like they're ready to get back out into the dating game, what would be your number one piece of advice for them?
Okay. Find something that you're passionate about. For me, it was theater. It might be skydiving. It might be, I can't even think what else there is other than theater, because in my mind, that's where everybody should go. Maybe it's running, join a group, and then you have that instant connection with someone, you're both runners, you're both, and then go from there and just go into every situation, not thinking, who in here can I date? Because whatever with the world, but who in there can be my new best friend? And I think if you have that attitude in life, and maybe they're your best friend for 4 minutes and then you'll never see them again. It's not like long-term best friends. It could be just somebody you meet on the subway. And they're your new best friend. Like, you made each other laugh until the next stop. And that was your new best friend for the moment. And you'll think about, you never know, that interaction could change your life in some way. It could have just amused you for a minute, but it might be a good story to tell somebody else. I've had things happen. I'm like, oh, this happened to me. And they're like, get out. I think you met my friend so-and-so, because they told me the same story from the other side. And you're just like, what a small freaking world that we live in. Just walk into every situation. Who's going to be my new best friend? And just be excited to meet new people. That's just Beth Anne, though. So, sorry.
I feel like all of us could do a little better to have a little more Beth Anne in us, right? A little bit more Beth Anne.
I think I have to issue a challenge to all of our listeners to go out and with the intention of who's going to be my new best friend everywhere you go for the next week, and then drop us an email and let us know how it went.
Oh, I would love to hear that. That would be so awesome. And I'd love to hear like your adventures, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's just somebody you meet buying broccoli at the grocery store, but who knows how that will change your life. You never know.
Yes. So who is going to be your next best friend in every adventure for the whole week? And then drop us an email at soyou'readytodate@gmail.com. Lisa will put that in the show notes, and tell us all about it. And that way we can share these stories with our listeners, because I think that would be a fun experiment for anybody who is ready to put themselves back out there.
And even if you're not ready to date and you just need something new in your life, maybe just go into a situation like that. You know what I mean? Maybe you're not ready to date. Maybe you just need some friends.
Or maybe you just want to smile for a day.
Yeah. Smiling's my favorite. That's what Buddy the Elf said. And, I go with that.
I have to say I'm very disappointed in myself because I did not watch that movie this season.
Okay. You know what? It's not really over. Like, I think until like my Christmas tree is down, which is like January 15th, you are still good, Angie. You got another 2 weeks. I'm giving you a pass. It's a weird year. You have another 2 weeks. After that, though, I don't know if we can be friends. Like this might have to end, this little love affair we got going on. I think it might have to end, but I'm giving you an extra 2 weeks because I feel like that's fair.
I appreciate that, because I think I need it. That is my favorite Christmas movie, and it did not bless my TV yet.
I remember crying, and I don't know if I was postpartum or like really pregnant, because it came about I was probably really pregnant when it originally came out. And at the end where the dad starts singing, the grumpy dad, I sobbed in the theater, like how pathetic. But oh my God, I love that movie.
I think we all have stories like that with movies where people would look at you and say, you cried over that?
Yes, I did.
Yep. Proudly.
Probably. So yes, I would love to hear like from all of your listeners, like hear how their challenge went on meeting your new best friends.
And if you ended up across town at some random spot that we won't talk about because you made a friend and carried your bowling ball with you all night, tell us about it.
Yes. You don't have to give like names and places, like exact places, but like I feel like, you never know where being nice to someone in a random bathroom can lead. Just saying.
Exactly.
We're happy to block out specific names. We can change names to protect the innocent, whatever.
Innocent, guilty, whatever you want to call it. I think we can do that. Editing is great. And I think I would love to hear how it changes someone's life. Because once I got that attitude, it changed mine.
Did you have that attitude before your divorce, or was that something that progressed as you went through this process?
I used to have that attitude, and even after I was married, but when my marriage wasn't great, I was not this person. I was a small, sad person. And once I started to find my passion again, once I got back into theater and acting with film and commercials, I got that attitude back. And one thing I always say is like, even when things go wrong, it all works out for me. And it's true if you believe it. Like, I'm not saying false positivity, but I'll be like, oh, I'll find a parking spot and I'll be like, it started with that real quick. Sorry, listeners. It all started with like, one day I'm like, I need to get my positive attitude back. And I went to the grocery store and it was probably the same parking spot I had parked in 75 million times. And I pull and I'm like, this is the best spot because I could pull through. I don't have to back up when I'm done. And it's not the closest spot, but that's okay because I'm healthy. I can walk a little bit further. And I just decided that was like the best parking spot I ever had. And like that brought my spirits up. And I got grocery shopping done and I came back and I still say that when I park, I'm always like, oh, look at this great spot. And it could be like the last spot at the airport and I have to hike 4 miles to the closest shuttle. And I'll still be like, this is the greatest spot ever. And I just tell myself like, this is all working out for me. I miss a flight. That's okay. You never know what's going to happen. It'll all work out for me. And when you have that attitude, it really does. I had to work at this again to get this old Beth Anne back, but now that she's back, she is a lot of fun. Ask the random person I met at the tire store 2 weeks ago. Who's been texting me nonstop, and I'm like, Julio, we got to stop meeting like this. I'm not coming back to the tire store, sweetheart. But, that's what happens when you give people your phone number. He's my new best friend. Here we go.
See, this is like prime example of what happens when you put out that positive attitude, right? Julio at the tire store is your best friend. And if you play your cards right, can hook you up, right?
You never know. You never know where you might meet up with him again. And then it's just great. Yeah, we're friends now. And we text each other, weird memes. It's okay. If I bring him joy, he brings me joy with the next meme. So anyhow, I am so glad to be here, ladies. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast and talking about myself. Again, my favorite topic.
Yes, this was so much fun. We really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and your experience and giving everybody out there some really great advice on not just dating, but relationships in general.
Yeah. And just meeting people. You know, I promised this new girl, Shelly, that I met that I'd kiss her on New Year's Eve at midnight. I'm going to be with my boyfriend, but I told Shelly she gets first kiss. So, you know, that's how it works when you're with me.
Well, I think the whole shifting of the like expectations is really huge because not going into every expectation, expecting interaction, expecting it to have this particular outcome is such a game changer for everybody because the pressure that it relieves, you're like, oh, I can just go and see if I can make this person laugh or see if I can make this person feel better. And that could be the end of the interaction.
Or just make you feel better. Like that works too. Sometimes you have to find the absurd in life and that entertains you. And if it doesn't entertain someone else, oh, well, that's too bad for them, but you're smiling.
Well, Beth Anne, thank you very much for sitting down and chatting with us, or we are going to go another half an hour. Because
I could easily do that. Sorry, podcasters.
We'll have to have you back again so that we can have another discussion because I have a feeling there are some other things to pull out of there that we could definitely talk longer about. So you may be back.
I would love to come back. Yeah, maybe I'll have my dog next time. He is like my favorite thing. Okay, ladies, have a great day. Happy 2023 to you guys.
Same to you.
Never know. I'm excited to see where this year brings us.
So much more fun stuff.
So much more fun. Yes, with Julio and Shelly. You never know.
So don't forget to come back next week and see us again on So You're Ready to Date, because you never know what kind of fun we're going to bring to you.
Bye.